I so respected what they have. That no matter what happened in their life, they worked it out, they stuck it out. When my brother and I were about 6 and 7 years old, I came home and our neighbor was there waiting for us, and they said, your father was in an accident. He was a construction worker. Imagine that, an Italian guy who's a construction worker. You never hear that. So, he had fell 4 stories. And by the time my mom reached the accident site, there was news cameras, and she saw my dad, and all they could see was his hand. He was covered in cinder blocks and cement and scaffolding. They thought he was dead. So, fortunately, he survived. But he wasn't able to work after that. He was disabled at 38 years old. They were, still a young couple. My mom is 9 years younger. She was like 29. So, this is what I really respect about them is, even, we were little, we didn't realize it then, but for sure it put a financial strain on their marriage. But my mom, being the strong woman that she is, did whatever it took. She cleaned homes. She did, odd jobs to help support the family. My brother and I, we've been working since we're 11 and 12 years old, delivering paper, shoveling snow, cutting grass. That's just the values, that we were raised with. So, they got through that. And I always modeled, whoever I had a relationship, like, after that, because, you do what it takes. If you really love someone, you just stick it out. But that didn't always serve me. I was in a 20-year marriage. Not horrible. He was a good person. He helped me raise my son. He worked hard. But I wasn't happy. I didn't have that connection. I didn't have that passion that everyone wants in their mate, I just, sat there, okay, this is who I chose, he's a good person, he's good to my son, so this is my life. So, I did that for over 20 years. Then about 2 years ago, my best friend, I just watched her deteriorate. I don't know if many of you heard of the disease lupus. I watched her just deteriorate, 42 years old, and she had 2 kids, and in recent years, she had found the love of her life, and was happier than she's ever been, and she passed away. That moment, that was it for me. That was my turning point. I said, I will not live another minute, not another day, not another minute unhappy. So I made the decision, I didn't want to hurt this person. He's a good person, he provided for me and my son, but I had to worry about my own happiness for once in my life. I always took care of everyone else. So now it was my turn. So I made the decision, I couldn't worry about what my parents thought, and that was the first thought. What are my parents going to think? You stick it out, this is, what you do. But I couldn't worry about that. For once in my life, I had to just do what was best for me. So I did, and I had planned on moving on by myself, starting fresh, and, well, the universe had other plans for me. Here comes someone in my life from my past. I actually went to high school with him, and unbeknownst to him, I had a crush on him all through high school. Never told him or anybody. Not that it would have mattered. Let's backtrack. My dad would have killed him. He would have never made it to my door. But we had a conversation. In that one conversation, I felt more of a connection with him than I did in 20 years of my marriage with this other person. And I'm like, oh God, like, what are you doing to me? I'm like trying to get out on my own, but it was everything that I ever dreamt up in my head that I wanted in a mate that most people want in that other, significant other. And I'm like, how can I walk away, So I met up with him, and the first day I met up with him, he gave me a hug, and, oh God. Oh, you're still here. Okay. I was going somewhere. It was amazing. So that was it for me. And fast forward, we had our dream wedding in Hawaii last year. We're coming up on 1 year anniversary. Yay! And ever been in my life, and I just feel like it's my time. I deserve it, you know. I've been through enough, you know, that where I'm like, and you know, eventually my parents came around. They, you know, they want what's best for me. They see I'm happy, you know, and they could tell over the years, you know, that I truly wasn't happy, but they didn't get involved. They didn't, you know, they just figured that's her life. So, backtracking a little, how I was saying my traditional Italian family, my mom unfortunately didn't come from exactly that type of family. She came from a divorced family, and her father was an alcoholic, left her mom with 7 kids to raise by herself. And you're talking back in the 60s. And for some reason, after she married my father, maybe a year or so after that, she lost all contact with her whole family. We still to this day really don't know why, and it's going on almost 50 years. She's had no communication with her family. Not her brothers, not her sisters, not her mother, her father. And a couple years ago, she reached out to me and she wanted to know, she's not tech savvy, so she's like, can you go online and see if you can find my mom? So I did, and I gave her the information. I actually found out she was living in South Carolina with my mom's brother. But then my mom did nothing with that. I don't know what held her back. She did not reach out. So then about 3 months ago, my mom asked my husband and I again. She's like, can you look and see if my mom's still alive? And at this point, she's, you know, has to be up in her 90s. I said, okay. So we looked, we found her right away. Well, we found my mom's brother, called him, spoke to him and his wife, and her mom had just passed away 6 months prior to that phone call. So I had to tell my mom this. And, you know, she didn't. My mom's the type, like, she could be so hurt and so upset, but she will put that positive attitude on, you know, that positive facade, like, you know, everything's fine. I could tell it hurt her. She didn't say much, but she's like, you know, I hope she rests in peace. And, you know, that bothered me, because I'm like, if you would have just reached out 2 years ago, or, you know, 7 months ago, you could have said what you've been wanting to say for almost 50 years. But now, she can't. So, now, on a happier note, about 5 months ago, my son blessed my family with my first grandson. I know, I don't look like your grandma. I know, thank you. But, oh, he's amazing. Little Tomas. He's just adorable. Some of you that follow us on Facebook, you've seen 1 or 3,000 pictures. And my dad, who's up there in years now, and, you know, isn't doing so well health-wise, wow. And he's, you know, that type, he's old school, and when he sees how the world is today, he's so down, like, everything's dead. It's like, oh my God. So, when he sees this little baby, his face lights up. It's just something, you know, for him to look forward to now. And it's amazing. So, what I want to leave you guys with tonight is, when you leave here, I just want to suggest that if you have a family member that maybe you're holding resentment with, or anger, most of the time you don't even remember what it was about. And the reason you don't remember what it was about, because it wasn't even important. Because if it was, you would know. I just want you to pick up your phone and call that person and say, I heard a story tonight, and it made me think of you. And I just want to say, I love you. Don't make the same mistake my mom did, because I know she's living with regret. Whether she expresses it or not, she is. And she can never make that phone call now. I'm Daniela Roman, and I want to thank you for allowing me to share my story.